Hey everyone, and welcome to the LiftKit Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, John Hoft, founder of LiftKit Marketing, where we support agencies and marketers with strategic planning, digital advertising, and growth operations. I'm joined by my co-host, Danielle Schermerhorn, who's a former agency owner and e-commerce strategist. Today's guest is someone I've been fortunate to know for a few years now. We first connected after a webinar that I did on how to use AI for sales and business development. And since then, we've stayed in touch, traded some insights, and now we're collaborating together as part of her agency's next chapter. Callie Doschadis is the founder of AdHound Media, a Nashville-based digital agency known for its performance-first approach and no-nonsense results. She's working across all kinds of industries, from dental offices to heavy equipment dealerships. She's bringing smart SEO and paid media to brands and local marketers that are ready to grow. We're going to talk about how Callie launched her agency after an unexpected nudge, what she's learned building her team and choosing the right tech stack, and the strategies that are actually working for her clients today. So let's get into it. Hello, welcome to LiftKit Marketing's podcast. How you doing, Danielle?
Hey, John. I'm doing great. This was a fun week for me. We launched a new website for an e-commerce brand, and they went from having almost every single product page be a poor rating from Google to a good rating, and they're just skyrocketing within 24 hours of a launch.
So is this an e-commerce brand that's been around for a long time?
Yeah, about 10 years, but, just really went TikTok famous during COVID and have skyrocketed since then, but then just, acquired a lot of bulk on their website. And, I've been calling Atelier the cleanup crew because we've just go in and identify the things that are slowing people down and fix it. And yeah, and it's the part that I love about my job is just like seeing that turnaround and helping people reach their goals when they felt like there was no hope. So it's great.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we're going to have to talk more about your agency. More people need to know about what you guys are doing.
Okay, Atelier Commerce, we specialize in e-com brands and really do full suite marketing. And the big thing that we're focused on is the foundational aspects. So I think that's something that a lot of agencies just kind of skip over, especially in e-com, or they just do one thing. They just build a website, they don't do anything else. So we really do all of it. So I oversee the digital marketing side, and then we have a team that does all of the web work. And we specialize mainly for luxury retail brands.
Got it. So I work with both agency owners and marketers, mostly B2B on the marketing side. But with the agencies and the agency owners, it's fractional marketing resource work. It's go-to-market strategy, it's operations, it's sales, it's whatever gap they need to fill. So that's essentially what I do with LiftKit Marketing. One of my clients is hosting a webinar, and I'm going to be a guest on that webinar. It's going to be in a few weeks. And what we're doing is packaging up how the new funnel looks and operates, because obviously things are changing. The funnel's broken. We're thinking it's more like a circle in terms of managing data, understanding your visitors, leveraging SEO and how you show up. So we're going to walk through that. We're basically going to help people with a guide for 2026. This is kind of the new day, the new era when it comes to AI. How is that impacting you, especially from a local SEO and an SMB perspective? So I'm excited about that. We're having fun building it. We're playing with different platforms. We're strategizing around the promotional aspect. Should it be a live webinar? Should it be an evergreen recorded webinar? And are we going to offer the ability to sign up for things at a discounted rate during the webinar? All these kind of fun things that come along with it. It's not going to be your typical webinar. So that's why I'm just kind of excited about it.
Awesome. Who are you going to do that with?
So I'm going to do that with Callie Doschadis from AdHound Media. So Callie, I've had the pleasure of knowing for a couple of years now. Callie first reached out to me after seeing me on a webinar about the use of AI in sales, and we've stayed in touch ever since. And like I said, fast forward today, now she's a client of mine. We're collaborating on a lot of exciting initiatives, including that webinar, and helping her grow her agency, which is AdHound Media. So Callie's a true entrepreneur, smart, scrappy, creative. She founded AdHound back in 2022. It's grown to a fast-moving, very results-focused kind of digital marketing agency. It's based in Nashville. She's got accounts in a few other markets, but primarily Nashville. It serves clients across a dozen different industries. Like, it's really diverse right now. So everything from healthcare to dental practices, energy, automotive, education, even heavy equipment dealerships. So they're specializing in local SEO. They do paid media, search marketing, AI-powered campaign optimization. She's even got some impressive tech called AdHoundID, which I'm sure we'll learn more about. But that essentially helps brands unmask anonymous web traffic that allows for retargeting, primarily via email, but also through paid media as well. But what I like about Callie is that she's an inspiration to other entrepreneurs. She leads with vision and grit. She's built something very real. She's in the trenches, rolling up her sleeves with her clients every day and helping others along the way. So, Callie, we're glad to have you here with us. Welcome to the LiftKit Marketing Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to talk with you guys today.
So hopefully I didn't steal too much thunder with that intro, but hopefully people are anxious to hear your story. Tell us more about that big decision you made a while back to launch AdHound Media.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it wasn't necessarily a decision that I made on my own, but it all ended up working out in the end. I started as a finance major in college, and I didn't love it. I wasn't 100%, set on that being what I wanted to do. I just knew that I loved math. I always have. I still do. But the idea of, being stuck at a desk all day crunching numbers wasn't necessarily something that I loved. So I came across an internship opening at my local mall for a marketing position. And I read the description and I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like my dream job, my dream internship at the time. I was a freshman. And so after I saw that, I went to my career counselor at my college and I changed my major to marketing. And then a few years later, I got an internship at an agency in sales. I learned so much. I loved it, loved everything. It was in my small college town. And then when I graduated, I moved back to my hometown, which was just an hour away, and transitioned to full time with them. So that was actually back in North Dakota. So fast forward a few years, I was still working for them, still in sales, still loving it. And then my boyfriend at the time, now husband, moved down to Tennessee. And naturally, as some women do, I followed. So I came down here and I actually continued to work for that agency for a couple years after moving down here. And I was flying back and forth about once a month to service clients up in North Dakota. And then I started to build my book of business down here in Tennessee. And then naturally, as entrepreneurs do, I started to think, if I'm doing this for someone else, I can do this for myself. I should probably transition to, starting my own business and doing this for myself as I'm getting my own clients. So I had it in my plans. I'm a type A planner, and I had a date of when I was going to, depart the agency that I was at and fully dive into being on my own. I was still fully in the agency that I worked for. I was still growing my book of business with them. I was still, in it full time, but, 5 to 9 at night, I was creating my website and kind of, making a plan on the back end. And they ended up finding out that I was doing that, which was kind of just, it definitely happened for a reason. I'm a rule follower, so I didn't want to, ruffle any feathers, and I planned on doing things the right way. So yeah, they found out, obviously let me go, as they should. And that really made me kick things into gear right away. It really threw me off at first because, again, that was not my plan. And I had a date set of when I was going to make that departure. And clearly that plan didn't roll out how I had originally planned it to. So yeah, really from day one, excuse my language, but my ass was kicked into gear and I was hitting the ground running. And man, that first year was
insane. It was like, I mean, 6 months in, I was well past what I was doing at the old agency. So yeah, it was a lot, but very grateful for everything that that situation brought. And yeah, it definitely happened for a reason.
That's awesome. I don't want to like backtrack too much, but just it's public on your LinkedIn, so I hope I can share it. But you went to the University of North Dakota. That's where I went also. So may
Oh,
have
go Sue.
shared
There you
this with
go.
professors and
Yeah,
all of that. So that's it's just fun and like that's such a great place to go to college and a great community too. So that's really exciting that you're able to build your career there. I also did not go for marketing right away, so it's fun that you can learn those skills in that college. I think that they offer a lot of really great insights into marketing, even if that's not your major.
absolutely.
Oh, AdHound was the name that you came up with, and then what kind of clients were you going after originally?
Yeah, so I've never really had a niche, honestly. It's kind of a little bit of everything. As John had mentioned earlier, I work with several dealership clients, so it's heavy equipment dealerships, anything from, skid steers even to lawnmowers. And then we have some clients in the healthcare industry too. It's all over. So haven't really developed that niche yet. I honestly have found a lot of joy in just learning about businesses in every industry and really diving deep when I first start working with someone as to, what their customer journey looks like and helping them put together a marketing plan that's tailored to their specific customer journey. I think obviously no business looks the same when it comes to that. Yeah, started out with kind of taking anyone that that I could get. And
Let's talk
yeah.
about that for a minute because that it comes up a lot, and you watch YouTube videos or whatever on people starting up agencies, and they're always like, figure out your niche, own that niche. And I'm like you, Callie. I'm like, I I want to be more market driven, right? What I want to, who needs help with marketing? I want to be that person. I don't, I might lean more B2B. Like if I had a niche, I'm B2B. Like I like that space, whether it's medical, tech, software, industrial manufacturing, whatever. I don't really want to narrow it down. But there's something about how you go to market. If you're good at marketing, and that's what you lead with, and you've got capabilities and resources to help move the needle and show ROI, then how important is that niche? But I do think that there's some industries that, like auto dealerships, for example, they like to work with software and agencies and vendors that are approved and utilized by other dealers, So there's definitely that type of route. If you've got a category like that you're going to go after, then yeah, that should be your niche,
Yeah.
right?
Or categories
Hmm.
where there's a lot of regulation or something like that. But I think that I agree, John. I think there's so much value in actually like having a variety. Like I think of it like, you know, I mean, I want to have a different meal like every day, like I learn when I am gathering information from other industries and you can apply them to somebody else and you're just expanding your knowledge set. Now that we see this all the time, and I agree though, people are just like the advice is always to have a niche or a niche. I don't know which side you're on, but
Yeah. However you want to say it.
however you want to say it, it doesn't matter. But anyway, it is interesting. So I like that, Callie, that you started out and you're just like, hey, whoever will take me. You can always get to a niche later once you
Yeah.
identify, I'm really good at this one. And I like to work with that kind of client. I want to work with them more. But I think
Hmm.
when you are in that start out phase, sometimes you just got to take what you can get.
Yeah. You don't have the
Yeah, I think
luxury.
right. Yeah, and I think, at the end of the day, every business has a sales cycle. They have an
Mhm.
ideal customer and, challenges that maybe keep them up at night, but just making it my job to, map out those challenges and then maybe even design campaigns that move people through those challenges that they have, move through, different steps of the customer sales funnel and yeah, just putting together a strategy that works for each client. The channels might change, but I feel like, it's that underlying framework that remains the same. So that type of consistency is just what keeps our strategies sharp, and it's been great.
Case studies and examples that can sometimes come into play. People, who else are you working with? Do you have any case studies, any results? And if you've got those in their category, that could help you, right? But I've actually had strange instances where one category that I was, let's just say a hospitality industry type of account, found out that I had other hospitality type accounts, and they actually questioned whether they would work with me or not because I had someone else in that same category, and they felt as if I were going to, share, trade secrets, when actually the more I would work in this particular niche, the more knowledgeable I would get and share more information. So I don't know, in that particular scenario, it actually hurt me to have clients in the same category.
It's funny you say that, because I've had that same experience, and it's a lot of, I've gotten this question multiple times, is if I work with you, are you going to agree to not work with my competitors or another person in my industry within X mile radius of my location? So it's a double-edged sword. I think it's preference on, what you're looking for with your agency.
Yep, I sign NDAs with all my accounts, show them how things are separated and kept private, and illustrate that. But it really hasn't been an issue. I think they understand that if you're an agency or a consultant, you're working with lots of people, and that's a good thing, because you're going to bring more insights to the table as long as you're not sharing anything proprietary.
So, Callie, can we walk through, that first 6 months probably was really exciting and challenging and a lot of late nights. And so what were you doing? You identified, I want to work with everybody, whoever else say yes. And then what was the work that were you building websites? Were you doing digital marketing? What was it?
Yeah. So started out primarily just digital advertising, anything from SEO to ad buying, streaming TV, a lot of paid media. And that is primarily what we still focus on, but we have kind of branched out to becoming more of a full service agency. So with some of our clients, that means media buying, whether it's, the traditional avenues and managing their entire budget, kind of taking an internal marketing team approach, managing that budget, reaching out to vendors, doing vendor relations, just acting as their internal marketing manager, and then placing the digital advertising alongside that. So yeah, kind of we've transitioned into a full service advertising agency. Some clients just use us on kind of like an a la carte basis, where they'll pick and choose specific products and campaigns that they want to implement. And then others utilize us as a full service advertising agency, where we act as their internal team as well.
Sure, that makes sense. And you love math, so you get to use math every day in a way that you never expected.
Exactly. Yeah. I always say it's the perfect happy medium. It's like the left and the right brain. Love the numbers, but I love the creative aspect of it, like mood boards and making things look pretty is what I love. So mixing that with numbers, which I also love, and yeah, it's the perfect match.
So with your agency and these resources, you were with an agency that had lots of resources, probably a big in-house team, lots of specialists that you could rely on, and that was nice. Now you're on your own. Now what? Are you hiring people right out of the gate? Are you doing it all yourself? Are you relying on third-party service providers? What was your thought process there?
Yeah, that was something that I really had to tackle at first when diving deep into the structure of the business and how I wanted to model my business. And I think, the stereotype is the more employees that a business has, the more successful. And after diving deep into that, that's not always the case. We do have specialists for each category. So, for example, I'm not trying to be a graphic designer, a web developer, a web designer, media buying, SEO strategist, the list goes on. I'm not one person trying to be an expert at all these different products, because if I tried to do that, it would be a shit show. It would be so bad. And truthfully, I wouldn't even know where to start. So we do have specialists for each category, which also I think is I mean, it's an advantage. It's having, someone that is dedicated to their craft day in and day out. They're doing Google ads, implementing Google ads, optimizing them for my clients. I'm not trying to manage all of that. So I do have a team of experts for each category that manages that.
But there's so many of these large third-party service providers that have been around 10, 15, some 20 years with all kinds of certifications, big teams, and they're not structured in a way to work with marketers directly. They're structured in a way to work with agencies as a back-end resource for fulfillment. And that's just an ideal scenario for a small agency, especially one that, wants to play the role of the name and the face of the brand and be the architect and the contractor that's going to pull everything together and project manage it. That's the ideal kind of scenario. Now you've got all these resources that are highly qualified and certified, and they're designed specifically to support you and your clients. It's just a much more efficient way to go without all the overhead, which means you can keep the costs aligned and still have the expertise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've had that conversation with a few of my clients too, where they debate, in their head, the question is, do I hire someone internally and pay X amount for a salary, or do I invest that money in hiring an agency? And then that's where the conversation comes in of highlighting the pros and cons. The pros and cons are going to look different for every business, but hiring an internal team, what a lot of business owners that aren't diving deep into the advertising world, what they don't realize is that comes with paying a salary for an SEO specialist, a Google ad specialist, a graphic designer, a videographer, a web developer. And one person usually can't do all of that. They don't know how to do all of that. So that's where hiring an agency comes in, and why you kind of get the most bang for your buck with that, because you're not just betting on one person. You're not, betting on putting all of those efforts into one person, where in 2 months, maybe they leave, maybe they quit, and now you're back at square one. With an agency, you don't have to worry about, those things happening. You have that consistency, and you can rely on them, and know that you won't go through a lot of those struggles that you would with an internal team.
We're all on the agency side now, so I don't know if you guys have seen this, but what I'm experiencing is that the marketing manager position internally their job is mainly to identify the right agencies to work with and manage the relationship. They are not, they're just purely a liaison. They're not actually doing a lot to curate or create, or run the show. And so I find that really interesting, and I'm rethinking because I've been a marketing manager before. I didn't do that. I was the one wearing all the hats and doing everything. That's just what I do. But it's just been interesting. I'm rethinking what that job actually is. Have you guys experienced that too?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was on a call the other day where this marketing manager for a large global industrial IT firm is weighing those decisions right now and planning for 2026. And she's leaning into, reducing her headcount of her marketing team dramatically and hiring contractors for, project by project, retainer, maybe an agency, maybe an individual, but she's feeling like she's just going to not lock in on a lot of these expensive, full-time resources, and allow herself more flexibility.
What about you, Callie?
Yeah, a lot of my contacts and my clients are technically marketing managers. So it's a lot of, usually if it's a larger size company, that's who I'm working with, is the marketing manager. So they, like you just said, Danielle, it's them making those decisions of what agency to work with and just facilitating that relationship. Sometimes with the more, the smaller to medium-sized businesses, it's the owners or the sales managers that I'm working with. But yeah, I do see a lot of the marketing managers having that's what their job is, to be the liaison between the agency and the company. And sometimes, they'll throw in they'll manage the social and do that when they have time. But yeah, you're exactly right.
We know that you can become really granular in one specific thing. And just Google ads can be one job. just meta ads can be one job. And so it is getting more difficult to be a one-man show and run it like you are. So let's just get back to your story. And I'd love to hear more about what's working right now, what you're seeing in the industry. There's so much changes with AI, and especially how that impacts ads and search. What are you seeing and what's working for you?
Yeah, AI has been huge, and it's definitely a hot topic right now. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's interested in it because it is changing everything. But as far as, one consistent thing that's working right now, kind of a trick question because I feel like there isn't, one single channel that works for everyone. Every business has its own challenges, its own sales cycle and its own customer journey. Just building a strategy that is tailored and something that, moves people through my clients' sales funnel, not just a generic strategy, is kind of what's been working. I know that's kind of a, run around answer, but it is true because it looks so different for different types of companies. But that said, to somewhat answer your question, for dealerships in particular, one thing that we've seen that's been working really well is pairing geofencing via meta ads with some of the search optimization campaigns. So we will run meta campaigns that are actually targeting competitors' locations to capture their competitors' customers to just build awareness and interest in their company, build that brand awareness, get potential customers interested in what they offer. And then we'll tag on some demographic targeting to those ads as well. And then we make sure that the dealership is showing up on search engines when those same customers go looking for answers. So when you're dealing with companies that have a very high ticket price item, it's not going to be an overnight decision. So those meta ads alone probably aren't going to push them all the way through the funnel. So continuously putting their name in front of those potential customers that are already interested in, their industry, the types of products that they might offer. They're going to a competitor's location, so we know that they're interested in the things that they can offer them. Continuously getting their name in front of those people to the point where maybe it's 6 months down the road, they're searching for skid steer for sale because they've continuously seen that ad for a skid steer. They're going to Google searching for it, and now they see my client's name on the search engine and they're clicking on it. Pairing those two campaign strategies together has really been showing the best results. And having the reporting to show the results that clients are seeing with those two specific campaigns has been huge for the heavy equipment dealerships.
I love it. How are you tracking that? Is that like the success? Are they just reporting that, yeah, we got a sale, or are these coming through their website?
Yeah, so two different ways. So with the Google ads, what we can do is we can see the number of phone calls and form fills that they've got. But we've actually implemented another product that is even more creepy. It's just it just entails placing something on the back end of the website. It's just a pixel. We place that on the back end of the website, and then now the client, after we place that pixel, now the clients get an automatically populated Google sheet of all the people that are visiting their website and all of their contact information. So now we can, when their sales team is reaching out to those people, asking them like, hey, how'd you hear about us? And getting that one-on-one customer interaction so that they can actually put, they can mark, oh, this person found us from here, or this campaign, our Google ad campaign that we're implementing with AdHound brought them to our website, and that shows in the Google sheet as well. That's how we're really making it full circle and getting the detailed results of where these people are coming from. Where did this sale come from? How did this person find us? Kind of both ends of the spectrum of asking them and looking at the spreadsheet to see where they came from on the dealer's website.
Yeah, that's great. John, have you used that, like retention.com or OpenSend or the others?
Yeah, well, what Callie's talking about is we hinted at it earlier, AdHoundID, which is the identifier. So it can identify typically up to 40-50% of the traffic that's coming to a website. And what's the typical conversion rate of a form fill or a contact us form on a website's less than like 5%. So that means 95% of all your traffic, you don't even know who they are. right?
Sure.
So that's what this tool is helping with. It shows the attribution, where did that traffic come from? How did they get there? What did they look at? You start learning a lot more about them. And that's data that can be fed back into a programmatic buy or your social media buy to even find more lookalikes and really build on it. So now your audience just gets bigger, and it's all in market that is shopping for a particular product or service.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, a dealer like selling skid steers, I'm guessing their CEO is not even aware that these things exist. So when you're bringing that value, that's tremendous for them. And when they have a sales team that can actually follow up, that's great. Awesome. Yeah, so this is just a AdHound ID, something that is proprietary to AdHound. So is this something something you're selling just on its own, or you have to have the media buying service as well?
Yeah, we do sell it on its own. Of course, it's always recommended to pair it with a digital advertising strategy that's going to push people to your website, because if you don't have any website visitors, it's not going to do you any good. But we'll start by analyzing usually the Google Analytics and seeing how many people are visiting your website monthly, and then kind of going from there, making a plan from there. Because if the website traffic isn't there, then you need some strategies to increase that. Yeah, it's been a game changer because it takes someone who was just browsing and maybe just checking out a product page and turning them into a real lead that sales teams can nurture. So it's been huge.
In addition to being able to leverage that data for retargeting purposes, it can also be through display and social. You can also do it through email, because now you've got some unique data. Like you actually have an email address of this person visiting your website. So let's send them an email within, 5 minutes of them visiting the site, and just say, hey, thanks for stopping by. Here's some information, or a special offer or something unique that's not available on the website that they would see value in. And the open rate on those is extremely high. We're talking anywhere I've seen as high as 50%, because, wow, I was just on this website. This is the product I was looking at. Here's a special offer on it, right? It's like pretty powerful.
I always give the example because it gets me every time. I will be online shopping, clothes, shoes, adding things to my cart, and then I leave. And now I leave that website. I'm like, oh, I don't really need to spend money on that today. I leave, and now I'm getting emails that the shoes are on sale. That is exactly what this is.
All right. Callie, I'd love to, woman to woman, sorry, John. But like you are a powerhouse, it sounds like, and it's been really fun listening to your journey and how you just built this from scratch. And what advice would you give to other women who are just starting out or want to start out?
I'd say the advice that I would give is there's never a perfect time. As I alluded to in my story, I had planned it all out and it didn't go to plan. And here I am today. So there's never a time where you're going to find yourself feeling like you know everything and you're ready. It's kind of something where, you have to be willing to learn everything and learn as you go, because you learn from mistakes. So yeah, there's never a right time. There's never a perfect time, but you just got to go for it. And you can do what you set your mind to.
I love that. Do you feel though like your planning ahead of time really helped build your confidence so that when that cord was cut, you were able to, did you rely on the plan, or did you throw the plan out the window and just do something different?
Yeah. I mean, as far as the plan that I had, it was really only, on this date, I'm going to leave and dive deep into it. After that, I didn't really have much of a detailed plan other than, these are the services that I was going to offer. So I didn't really have a plan to follow, and it still ended up working out. I found all my vendors, and I learned as I went.
Yeah, there's something to be said for staying nimble, being self-taught, being a little bit of a risk taker. Networking, I think, is big. Talk to people, bounce ideas off of others, listen to people's stories. Yeah, I think too much structure is going to keep you from moving ahead, and you're going to let perfection get in the way of good enough. which is a
Mm-hmm.
quote from an old boss of mine. And I believe it. Don't let perfection get in the way of good enough. Just keep moving ahead.
That's what we're doing with
Good.
this podcast too.
Yep. This is by far not perfect, but we're having fun.
We're having a lot of fun. So speaking of having fun, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I am looking forward to an upcoming webinar that I will be hosting with John in a few weeks. We'll be diving deep into what you should consider in your marketing plan for 2026, the new changes that have been impacting everything in the marketing world. So we'll be giving out a lot of very key tidbits that every business leader should be considering for 2026, and maybe doing a couple special little giveaways, a little sales and promos within the webinar that will be exclusive to the webinar attendees.
What's the best way for somebody to get a hold of that webinar, even if they're listening to this a year from now? Should they connect with you on LinkedIn, and how can they do that?
Yeah, we'll put a link in the comments. We'll have links on AdHoundMedia.com. Otherwise, Callie's on LinkedIn, very active. You can find her there. You can find me there if anyone wants to watch that webinar from just a workshop perspective. We'll make it available. I hope it goes really well, and there's going to be plenty more of them, because way at the rate that things are going right now, the tips and tricks and tactics and strategies that we're talking about over the next 3 weeks, are going to get you only so far.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Q1 of next year, we're going to have to do it again, right? And there's going to be more. But we feel like what we're putting together is a good foundational approach for local SMBs to be successful in 2026.
Well, I can't wait. I'm going to be in attendance for sure if it's live. So very excited. And then, Callie, we just like to wrap up all of our podcasts with a chance for you to lift up some other person in marketing. So tell us, who would you like to lift up?
Her name is Erin Kenny. She has her own private practice. She's a nutritionist, and you can find her on Instagram at Nutrition Rewired. The stories that she has of specifically women, but men too, the people that she's helped and how she has helped them overcome just these major health issues that they've been going to doctors for years. And, it's not some gimmick that she's trying to sell. It's these one-on-one consultations and appointments that she does with people, and she's literally changed people's lives. So she is currently pregnant with her second kid, and her first girl she just turned 1 in June. So she is a mom, and she is grinding it out. She is just insane, such a hard worker. So yeah, I want to shout her out and give her
Awesome.
a little credit.
Is there anything that
being...
she's doing from a marketing perspective?
Well, she's on
that's helping her?
Instagram. That's all marketing.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
she is. And she is consistent. Even when she had her first baby, she was showing up on Instagram every single day. She was so consistent, and that has truly paid off. I mean, she has built her business from being consistent. So yeah, it's unreal. It's very admirable. I'm like, how do you have time for all of this? It's crazy. She is a superwoman.
Nutrition Rewired. Go follow Erin and get some nutrition tips. And also go follow AdHound, because Callie, it sounds like you're killing it and you're doing really great things for your clients and identifying opportunities that a lot of people aren't doing. And so that's really exciting. Thank you for sharing your journey and some of your trade secrets with us today.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. I really enjoyed getting to talk with you both.
Thanks for joining the LiftKit Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, John Hoft, founder of LiftKit Marketing, a consultancy dedicated to supporting agencies and marketers with their digital growth strategies.
And I'm the co-host, Danielle Schermerhorn, a former agency owner and current e-commerce specialist with deep experience across both brand and agency sides of the marketing world.
Each week, we'll bring you conversations with marketing professionals who are doing great work, whether they're leading teams, building campaigns, launching products, or just figuring it out behind the scenes.
Our guests will share their personal journeys, the real stories behind their success, the challenges they faced, and the wins they're most proud of. We'll also hear what's next for them and what they see on the horizon for the industry.
At LiftKit Marketing, we believe in celebrating people, recognizing great work, and lifting up those who are making an impact. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the episode.